Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Final Whistle. David Giacomino, Kevin Walsh, as always, and we're here to recap the Mets and Yankees games from last night and the overall series. Kev, we'll start off with the Mets, just because it's everything huge rounding them right now. Just what you're feeling like. What's your take from the series? What's your take from last night?
Honestly, you have to give the Mets credit. A position where they could have been on the other end of this sweep. Realistically, the Nationals held a lead, I believe, at one point in every single game. So for the Mets to be able to find ways to win, it was so impressive. Obviously, that first game with was that the second game where Harvey was on the mound,
Yeah.
and they had that big comeback. I think that it was the second one. That right there, Terry Collins came out and said that was, the most important game I've ever been a part of, and just spoke about how amazing that feeling was to watch that team fight back against their division rival. They've now beat them, I believe it's 6 or 7 times in a row. They really seem to have their number, and realistically, when you think about the Nationals versus the Mets and what'll be the Yankees and Blue Jays, what you do outside of playing one another obviously is important. But you look at it from the Mets and Nationals who just played one another, and the Mets get a sweep, and how big that is. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yankees are playing Orioles, and Toronto's playing the Blue Jays. I'm sorry, Toronto's playing the Red Sox, and Toronto loses and the Yankees lose, and it's basically like no one even played that day. But every single time that you play one another, someone gains a game or loses a game, and it's a huge, huge deal. And the Mets seem to be aware of that, and the Mets seem to get the job done when they're playing against the Nationals.
Yeah, and I would say their confidence is at an all-time high right now. And this sweep is just it puts them up here at another level, and it's just great to see for the Mets' sake. And I'll say game 2, it's more of the Nationals just handing the Mets the win rather than the Mets coming back to win.
Right.
I don't want to give the Mets all the credit in the world when they deserve all the credit in the world, but for game 2, I'm not going to go crazy because 6 walks in one inning, it really helps you out.
Oh, absolutely.
But it does take they did get the big hits when they needed to. Obviously, I'm giving it's credit to them. They needed those hits, but they got awfully a lot of help.
I think that is something though that the Mets have gained a lot of patience. Most likely, it's crazy how the team switched around, but this series is back in May, and everyone other than Curtis Granderson probably swings at balls in the dirt. But the team is just patient now. They're letting the game come to them, and that's players 1 through 8 in the in the batting order, obviously not including the pitcher. Even a guy like Wilmer Flores is seemed to turn things around. He comes up and gets big hit after big hit.
His defense is even improved. His overall game has just been great.
But the whole team has, if so basically if anyone plays MLB The Show, I'm positive that the entire Mets team's ratings all went up. That's basically what it feels like. It feels like someone just gave them all attributes.
And if you would have told me that they'd come back in every game in this series versus the Nationals, I would have told you you're crazy.
Yeah.
But it just seems like they're never out of a game, no matter what the score. And that's just great going into the playoffs for them. They're never out of a game, and that's the mindset you need to have, no matter what the score is.
Absolutely. It's getting down, and I think that's what's changed because I think it was really. It seemed almost a guarantee that the Mets were going to lose the second they went down 2-0. Meanwhile, this team now goes down 7-1.
And another thing, Strasburg pitched a gem yesterday, and still they found a way to win.
Jordan Zimmerman on that day of the big comeback. Jordan Zimmerman was dealing.
And I was just saying to myself watching the game yesterday, how do you take Strasburg out in that situation? He was only at 100 pitches. How do you go to your bullpen when they just did that the night before? You have to go 120 pitches out of your starter in that situation. And the way he was throwing,
that's why their manager's losing his job.
He's on the way out.
100%. The only way he doesn't lose his job is they win the World Series. Even if they make to the World Series by some miracle, I still would fire him.
Would you say the division is done? The Mets got it.
I still won't say that just because the lead is now at 7 games.
Yeah,
the lead's at 7 games. They still play each other.
22 left to play, and they still play each other the last series of the year.
Last series of the year. So, yes, obviously the percentages are well in the favor of the Mets, but the thing is, 22 games left to play. The Mets could have a bad series, if the Nationals at that point have a good series, they close the gap to 4 games, and then easily Nats win a series, Mets win a series, and all of a sudden it's 3 games, and we enter that final day, and all of a sudden, Mets are up 3 games. They just got to win one. Nationals normally owned the Mets at Citi Field, but they haven't been able to do it this year. And you never know how that could swing. So I won't say it's done. Don't kick your feet back up yet, Mets fans. Don't, save the margarita juice just a little bit longer. But I will say, feel very confident. 2 weeks ago, or a week ago even, I said the Mets should not be confident with this current lead. But this current sweep is completely changed the tone.
I think that if they were playing better competition down the stretch, I'd say they'd still have to worry, but the level of competition is just not there that they're playing. And they're playing one winning team besides the Nationals at the last series of the year. The one team that has a winning record, and that's the New York Yankees.
Right.
And with that being said, I have to say pretty much it's done unless it's a major, major collapse.
I wouldn't say that just for the simple fact that the Nationals are also playing terrible teams. So you have to understand that it's a matter of not slipping up. And also, when the Mets are playing the Yankees, that's a big deal because the Yankees right now are obviously in the heat of things. Every game for the Yankees is very, very important. So and especially when you get into the Subway Series. So, and I'm not saying that the Yankees are going to sweep the Mets, but I mean it's foreseeable. It's foreseeable for either team to sweep the other. So that's a series that's a big deal, and that could go someone's way. And the Nationals are they're going to play bad teams just as much as the Mets are. So, but if the Mets continue to do what they've done, and that's beat bad teams and win at home, which would then give them the Yankee series, then obviously they'll be fine.
With that being said, you brought up the Yankees. We'll swing it over to the other side of town. They just wrapped up their series with the Baltimore Orioles. They lost last night, the last 2 games of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Tough one to swallow, both games, because they had Tanaka going. He pitched to Jim. They still lost that game. What's your take? How do you feel about the Yankees right now?
I think that they should just be happy that they can thank the Red Sox, which is just obviously sacrilegious for any Yankee fan or Yankee player. But the Red Sox helped them out in a big way. The Yankees weren't able to get the job done against the Orioles. And I mean, that's a team that does have a lot of offense, especially with Chris Davis, who, if he was on a winning team, would be well into the MVP considerations with the way he's turned his season around, especially after last year. But the Yankees obviously weren't able to get the job done, but they did enough to keep themselves well within reach of the Blue Jays coming into a 4-game series at home. If I'm the Yankees, today is today and yesterday is yesterday. Let's go out. Let's make today happen. Let's worry about today's game 1 of a 4-game series, and that's what it's got to be. That's got to be the mentality.
Yeah, I think you have to look at it as you're in control of your own destiny if you're the Yankees, and you just got to put everything aside. I know they had a lot of injuries coming at them right now. You have to next man up. That's got to be the mentality, and I think they will have that mentality, and I think they'll be able to strive for it. I don't know how they're going to be in the series. I think it's going to be a split. I don't know if any teams are going to get the best of each other because Blue Jays got David Price coming back tonight. They got Storm coming back Saturday. They're still going to have good solid guys going out there. I know they don't have the best pitching, but still.
The thing is, though, their pitching has kind of looked how it did before the trade deadline, and especially in that Red Sox series. They were getting tagged for some big runs. And yeah, Price is thrown, but so is Cervinho, who's looked phenomenal. You have to give him that credit.
Yeah.
Stroman does come back Friday, but I think we all kind of know coming back from an injury, you really can't guarantee anything. If anything, the odds are not in his favor, due to the fact that it's his first start coming back from injury in a big type of game like that. You don't really know what will be the outcome in something like that. So the Yankees have, I think, a little bit more trust within their starting pitching. I think that a Yankees fan should. So it's going to be a series where I think it comes down to if the Blue Jays can get their offense going, then that's where they'll win the series. It won't be behind great pitching. And if the Yankees do it, it's going to be behind winning games 5-3, 6-2,
they
2-1.
Their offense needs to get going too. It's been slacking lately, Losing Mark Teixeira does not help them.
No, definally not.
I know Bird has been solid at first base.
He's been good, but not. Mark Teixeira
He's been a rookie.
Mark Teixeira was.
He had 30 homers.
Mark Teixeira was probably maybe top 5 within the AL MVP position. I would think.
I think he would have won the comeback player of the year.
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe he still could. I'm not sure who the other candidates are off the top of my head.
A-Rod.
I don't know if they're going to give it A-Rod.
I know, because where he's coming back from, yeah.
That's kind of like in the NFL. People are like, oh, AP's definitely winning comeback player of the year. But it's like, dude, really? I really feel like let's give it to someone else.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yes, I do understand what you're saying, of course, with A-Rod, who's having a phenomenal season.
Yeah, and who would have thought that? I certainly didn't.
Oh, I know you didn't. We spoke about that on air.
Several times.
And obviously, every time I said A-Rod was going to be awesome, it was really just kind of not a joke, but it wasn't something I was really betting on. But I think if you want to talk about, possibly the most important player to the entire season, if you think about if A-Rod was not A-Rod, then it would have been probably a year where the Blue Jays would be right now running away with this thing, and the Yankees wouldn't even be close to the playoffs, because then you would have dealt with Joe Girardi every single day. Oh, are you going to play A-Rod today? Are you going to play A-Rod today? Are you going to play A-Rod today? Hey, A-Rod, what are your thoughts on not playing today? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Hey, Teixeira, your thoughts on A-Rod? Hey, Gardner, your thoughts on A-Rod? Oh, Cervino, great job. You're doing real well as a rookie. Your thoughts on A-Rod? And basically, the thing just becomes a huge circus that nobody wants. But meanwhile, he shut up completely, and he's been just a professional.
Yeah.
He's gone out there, he's played baseball, and he's gone home.
He's done everything he's been asked to do. He hasn't complained at all. I'm sure he would like to be out there playing third base, but he's.
But he doesn't need to be.
No,
He doesn't
because
need to
Chase
be.
Elliott has not been any better at third. He's been
No,
he-
but
he-
I
he's-
think I don't know how your thoughts on this. I think Juan Uribe might be one of the worst fielding third basemen.
really Juan Uribe.
I think that
I think he's.
You think he's good?
I think he's above average.
It was a night I was covering the Mets, and Harvey threw thrown a gem, and the way they got hits were, I think it was 3 infield singles, all hit at Juan Uribe, and he just doesn't have the speed or ability to get there.
If you're talking speed,
Okay,
I would
but
say
David Wright gets those balls. David Wright makes those plays. I don't know why I could just, So Juan Uribe though is more of an everyday type of player. So if he can't do it, what is 40-year-old A-Rod gonna do?
yeah. I said give him a shot at first base.
Why?
Oh, right now
Why?
they have a hole there.
Not really. Greg Bird can field though.
Yeah,
and Greg Bird's gonna be in the lineup every day anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because then who are you gonna put at DH? Greg Bird. So what's the point?
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but there's no other guy to play DH. I mean, what are we doing? Steven Drew at DH now, and then no, he's only in the lineup because of
that
his
error yesterday he made was.
Oh, obviously it's costly.
The ball's got to be caught.
It's costly. I mean, all errors are costly, regardless if it equates to a run or not. But I mean, that's really for another time.
Another thing, Sabathia did pitch well yesterday.
Mhm.
Coming back, I wasn't expecting much, but I don't. If he continues to struggle, I don't know how they pitch him down the stretch. I really don't.
I think that CC post All-Star break has been much better than what we saw pre All-Star break.
He's been better, not good, but better.
No, but I think that you could put CC in a. He's been consistently average to below average, I think, with maybe a glimpse here and there. I think what he's kind of been like that middle ground of John Neese and Bartolo Colon, because with the Mets, either Bartolo's dealing and John Neese is atrocious, and then either like Neese is dealing, Colon is like, all right, dude, you really need to stop what you're doing. But I think like CC's just been like in between there, like sometimes he's a little bit above the line, sometimes a little bit below the line. But I think that's kind of where CC's fallen into things, which I think is good enough. But I think come postseason time, Evaldi's healthy, he's getting thrown. Pineda's healthy, he's getting thrown. Tanaka's healthy, he's getting thrown. And I'm definitely throwing Cervino, 100%.
100%.
So, I mean, that basically does then leave me in the situation of, do I want to throw Nova or CC? I wouldn't really say that it's something to get all crazy about. I wouldn't even be crazy surprised if they said, you know what, Evaldi, let's relax, let's throw you in the bullpen. The dude throws 100 miles an hour. So that's a guy who, if any had to go to the bullpen, that'd be fine. But throwing CC in the postseason isn't the worst thing ever. And just because he's been there, done it before, he's got a World Series ring.
Yeah.
So that is a reason why a guy like CC can be valuable come postseason time.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he'll step his game up a little bit, but it's just overall great to see both of these New York teams playing well at the end of the season. When's the last time we've seen that,
It's been a very long time. I think, it's crazy, too, when you got into the season. The Mets were viewed as having no chance. And a lot of Mets fans say, oh, haha, we showed you. But no Mets fan thought they had a chance.
I said they had a chance.
Come on. They had a chance at what?
I said they had a chance at the wild card, not the division. I didn't say the division.
And now here's the thing, right? Now let's say if the Nationals were as good as they were supposed to be, the Mets would actually have no chance because they wouldn't be able to have won as many games against the Nationals. And that wild card right now is so ridiculously ran by the NL Central, who I don't understand how 3 teams can just dominate like that while still having to play one another. and no team can get a. I mean, the Cubs go around and play the Cardinals this week, and they win 2 games out of 3. And then the Pirates, they go and play the Reds, who are supposed to be good, but the Pirates will take 2 out of 3, but then they got to go and play the Cardinals, and then they'll get swept, and then the Cardinals go play the Cubs again, and they get swept, and then the Cubs. Like it's ridiculous. So to the point of the Mets, where even if the Mets played as good as they're playing right now, but if the Nationals, who are supposed to be right now, I think the Cardinals are near 90 games. I mean, the Nationals were projected to have won 90 games a long time ago. That's how good they were supposed to be. So the Mets virtually would have been out of it, and not by their own fault. I mean, just those other teams were supposed to be so good.
And I don't think you see a Cespedes trade too if they're playing well. If the Nationals are playing well,
No, probably not. The Mets probably just swallow it and just say, "Hey, what are we gonna do? We'll better luck next year. We'll figure it out in free agency, and we'll come at it again." And then you look at the Yanks, and I mean the question marks that they had coming into the season.
They needed everything to go right for them, and it happened, and that's great for them.
The majority of it went right. I don't know if everything went right, but the majority of it. First half of the season, Pineda looked like an ace. Then you come back, Dellin dominant. You got rid of David Robertson. Well, guess what? Andrew Miller has been better. Flat out. Tanaka, a lot of people, including yourself, and I can't blame you, did not think that he would see May.
No, I didn't.
And he's still going. This kid Cervino came up and was amazing. Teixeira stayed healthy the majority of the season, and when healthy, was just a beast. A-Rod came back and looked, obviously not like A-Rod, but he's looked much better than what anyone would have thought. Brett Gardner is having his best season. But, then there were still a couple things. Now Teixeira goes down. Jacoby Ellsbury missed, some important time. Andrew Miller did miss some important time. But they've been able to step up. But realistically, the Yankees were looked at as a team that was, headed for a third-place finish, probably behind the Blue Jays. And I didn't ever really buy into what the Red Sox moves were going to be, but I didn't think anyone thought the Red Sox were going to be this bad.
No.
But someone would have said that the Orioles would have still played well. But, both teams have had a lot of things go their way. But realistically, it's not just like, oh, wow, they're lucky. No, the teams just are good baseball teams that have played well and deserve to be where they are.
Yeah, they're playing the game the right way, which is what you want to see. And I can't think of the last time they both had a realistic chance of winning a couple of series, going deep into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And as in New York, that just creates better atmosphere for baseball. It's going to get more people into the game, and it's just great to see.
I think that Subway Series is going to be...
Oh, it's going to be...
I'm trying to think of a time where that Subway Series is going to be as...
I think that this is the most important Subway Series ever. But just standings-wise, just like what it has to do.
I'm trying to think of a Subway Series that will have that much juice behind it. I mean, honestly, for me, and this, the Subway Series moment something that really stands out to me. I just remember this clearly. A-Rod infield pop-up to Luis Castillo at second, and Castillo dropped it, and the Yankees able to come back and win that game.
But that was still a bad Mets team,
But you know what I'm saying? But that was just a significant moment. I mean, we're talking about a series that is happening in September that both teams need to win. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you throw the fact that it's the Mets and Yankees on top of it. I know for a fact that I definitely am going to try to get out to a game. I know for a fact that you will be there at least one game.
I have to.
That's not even a question in my mind. So that to me is something that is going to be so exciting. And even if you can't make it,
it's must see TV.
If you just call up your boys, call up your friends, even ladies, if you're into baseball, do it. You know what I'm saying? And you sit down around the TV and just enjoy baseball again. Enjoy baseball again. Like back when we were 8 years old and every day we'd come in at the lunch table and say, Mets stink. Mm-hmm. Yankees are the best. And then that one year where the Mets were like, no, we're really good and made it all the way. And then Beltran just said, I'm not swinging. But still, the Mets fans had their year and things like that. Jose Reyes is better than Jeter. Ha ha ha. And that's like, no, Derek Jeter. And also, well, I feel like we have that back and forth, and I really think that this segment's gonna go way longer, but it's fun. It's fun to talk about. I remember it got to the point where I didn't really hate Met fans. I just I hope the Mets do well. I would go to the games. I'd cheer for them. The other day I'm walking with Ann. I'm like, dude, I'm done. I want the Mets to lose. This is bothering me. They're too much. I'm getting texts from Dave every day that Cespedes is the MVP. He's got a best friend named Finn. Finn, watch this. Finn is worse than Dave. I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't know that was possible, saying that David Wright is the true captain of New York. And it's blasphemy. But that's where we're at again.
No. I say that. Did you? How could you not watch David Wright's fist pump the other night and be like, wow?
And get the chills that you did a long time ago.
Yes.
It's a and you're gonna start yelling about all the guess what, Severino's gonna be better than all the Mets pitchers, and they're like, really? Come on. Don't talk to us about pitching. Look at how good it is. Well, fine. A-Rod's beast. A-Rod's gonna disintegrate into dust though, and that's where you're at again, where the two sides of towns are all invested in their teams, and then you're gonna really see it come together at that Subway Series. It is gonna be so awesome. And I'm so excited, and I hope both teams make it to the postseason.
Oh, they will.
And I think they both will, and I think that it is going to be the best time for New York baseball as a whole that we've seen in a very, very, very long time.
And this is just magical thinking. This is a long time away, but imagine these teams get to the World Series. Imagine. That's because it's not out of the realistic realm. Like,
it's literally possible.
It's possible.
It's not like
both of these teams are playing so well, and things have to go their way, like we've been saying. But they have.
But they could. When you look at the Yanks, I think that they're the second best team. Because I think they're better than the Blue Jays. I think the Royals are the clear best team. But the Royals are beatable. And then when you look at the Mets, they can be the Dodgers, whose offense has been nothing to write home about, and the NL Central has to beat each other up.
And then it comes down to win a series.
Yeah, and it comes down to just win another series, and then all of a sudden we're sitting there, and it's Subway Series Part 2, Mets chance at redemption, Yanks chance at continuing domination.
And then that's when you really have the chance to take back New York for the New York Mets.
And it is going to be so awesome. I'm blocking Finn on Twitter though. I don't.
Just look. If that would ever happen and the Mets were to win, you should probably block my number.
You know what though? You deserve it. Just because of how much I give to you, but just Finn. Now we're gonna get into a conversation about Finn, but his Twitter account is just such a nuisance to my life. The Mets will go out and win 5 games in a row, and it's not, look at the Mets. It's like, take back New York. Mets are ruling again. And it's like, dude, you won 5 in a row, but the Yankees won 4. It's fine. You're not taking back New York. Take it down. And you're like, no, Mets are dominant again. The Dark Knight is rising. And it's like, all right, you know what, Finn, I'm blocking you. But I can't block him because I just want to yell, and then it's awesome. And now that's why, once again, I'm kind of semi-cheering for the Mets to lose a little bit, but realistically, not that much, because I still think that it's cool that they win, and Wilmer Flores is my boy, because I was there the night that he cried. I don't know. It's just all the excitement that I have for baseball is... Basically, I haven't been this excited. Basically, when the Yankees were in the World Series, and then before that, I can't even tell you.
Oh, it's just great to see. We've gone way over the limit that we're supposed to, but that's just us. That's all the time we have for today. Final whistle. David Giacomino, Kevin Walsh. Have a good one, folks.
Shout out, Finn.